unravel this finale.
Well, I started recording just now, and we're back.
And we're back. Let's unravel the finale. It's
Let's
Tales
unravel the finale.
time.
Tales Unraveled. It's gonna be a while till we have another one, so it better be good. Pressure on everybody. You better have the perfect answers. Welcome everybody to Tales Unraveled. We are talking about the finale to book 2. And I guess first off, just as a little like warm-up question from me to the players, when you guys got the final, these guys don't know what's going to be in the montage usually until I've done it. Did anything in that montage surprise you? And if so, what?
It's hard to say what surprised me without going into what I know comes next.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part there. That said, all of the stuff that you threw in there, I'm like, okay, I see what you did there. So surprise would probably be the wrong word for me, at least.
There's a lot of stuff where it's off-camera stuff that had been happening, but you guys had no idea.
Yeah.
I want to know what's in the box, Stefan. What'd the bakers get? What's in the box?
It's Billy's head.
What's
in the box?
I wouldn't do that to Billy. Quinn,
Jack might.
Quinn, oh no, Jesse, were you gonna answer?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I didn't expect to see a Skitter Kid in there, so that was fun.
Yeah, you also seemed surprised by how Skitter Kit looked. Or did you didn't realize she looked different, did you?
Yeah, not really. Now I can see that she has a scar, but it didn't cross my mind at all at the time because I think I was just so surprised to see her.
Yeah.
So I didn't even like think about anything else in the image.
How long have Maud and Skitterkit been separated at this point in the story?
Jesse,
I don't remember how many months you were at. How many months were you at like the Bakers?
I believe I was at the Bakers for like, it was either 3 months or 6 months.
I think we went for more months than like I almost think we went for like 8, like 6 to 8 between that there. So
still less than a year since you've seen your sister, all things considered.
Yeah,
less than a year, but they were very reliant on each other as like the only emotional support they had. So that feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
Someone did ask.
Yeah, to Karna, that's like a weekend.
It's the long-lived. Someone did ask what the timeline was between this filming and book 3 starting. So we filmed book 2 in about a week in September 2024, and then we started filming book 3 in April of 2025. So just about 3 months, 6 months. Oh boy.
Yeah,
when the year ends, I stopped counting.
And then book 4 was filmed 1 week about a week after that.
Yeah,
less than a week technically.
Yeah, book 3 and 4 is gonna be the closest we've ever been to like the previous season so far, by a good margin.
A nice marathon session, or a few.
For people asking, will we get bloopers or outtakes? Bloopers and outtakes, not really, but deleted scenes, yes. Like, we're like stuff that we deleted that we thought was worth preserving for like to give to YouTube members and patrons. We're gonna have that in a separate video for those folks. And that's gonna be for $5 members and up, the people who get the members only videos, and $10 patrons and up, because the patrons get many channels, not just this one. Yeah,
it's not really a whole lot by way of bloopers that like would be entertaining, because most of the goofing around kind of stuff we leave in.
Some of it, I delete stuff if it feels like it's distracting too much from like what we're doing. If it's like a quick thing, I'll usually try to leave it in.
Right.
But if we like go on a tangent for like a couple minutes, I'm like, okay, well, we got a story to tell. Trying to find the people who donated stuff, because some folks had stuff to say in that. Thank you for Andrew Menard or Menard, however that's pronounced. Thank you, Andrew, for gifting memberships to people. Quinn, did you see anything in the donated stuff that we should address before we get
the problem is there were a couple of questions that all kind of focus on perspective stuff. I don't know how much we want to like spoil what happens in later books.
Yeah, so
that's why I haven't been bringing a few of these up.
Well, then let me just say thank you, Joseph, and thank you, Joey, and thank you, Aiden. But I will say.
Oh yeah, but Aiden did have the cheeky one-word spoiler for book 3, which I thought we could do if we wanted to. We are finally past it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now's a better time to do that.
I have mine.
Okay.
I have mine. How about you, Jesse?
Yep.
Okay. Nick, go first.
All 3 at the same time. No.
That'll be fun.
My cheeky one word, piss boy.
Yeah.
Piss boy.
Well, now I don't think mine's all that funny. Jesse, you go.
Then you shouldn't have said to go after me. You know this is a
I'm trying to see if Jesse can balance it out.
Fetish.
Yeah.
That was the one I was thinking of. So I'm going to default to, it's not that cheeky, but wild.
Okay. I'll just go with
This-
death.
Book 3 sounds insane now to them.
Look, we're going to another Fani culture, one that is much more primal.
Wild.
So take of those what you will.
Wild piss boy fetish death.
That's my garage band.
And that's gonna be the name of.
That's car. That's car. Yeah, that's car. That's
No.
Car's
His Tales Unraveled is just gonna be wild piss boy
fetish
fetish
should be at
death.
the end of that. So
Piss boy
like wild
fetish
piss boy.
No,
death
it's like
fetish.
twink death.
Well,
I was just thinking Twink Death, but like we can't put all those words in the fucking YouTube title.
No, it's all words that are unmonetizable. We can't do it.
We'll have it be the first episode for members.
The secret title that we'll
Yeah, the
put
public
in.
title will have to be something sanitized, but if you're paying for it, you'll get the funny one.
Canalia asking if they're late. Yes. The episode has premiered by now, so we're talking about it. So if you do not wish to be spoiled on the finale, that is your warning. The warning for you.
Golden Bomber asks, is every season going to end on a boat? I'm noticing a pattern. We noticed the pattern too. And we're like, oh, well, let's try to not end seasons on boats.
Well, we have a lot of islands.
Yeah, it is an archipelago. So, like, it is appropriate, but...
It's like asking, what, does every One Piece arc end on a boat? Like, the answer is yes.
Oh, this is a good one. Manga Crazy 13 asks, was there a particular reason behind Maud choosing the name Maud?
Yeah, I mean, she explains it in like book 4, so I don't know if I want to like get into it, but you know,
you don't get to know right now.
If you just do research on like, you know, the name Maud, Shapaloo language comes from the origin of French, so it's kind of easy to like be like, oh, that's cool. But there's basically it's like there's 2 meanings to the word, or no, there's 1 meaning to the name. And then the longer form of like Maudit, you know, it's like there's a reason she goes by one and not the other. But yeah, that's a language thing you could just do research on yourself.
That's a French.
That's a French.
It's also very funny with like that like like French is like our stand-in for Shapaloo in this world, but also her Shapaloo name is Mittens. But when she goes out to be with humans, she has an actual name in the Shapaloo language.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to do our little warrior cats musical.
Jellicle. Yeah. Well, because it's also just a sign of like, you know, how her home life was, you know, like Mittens is like kind of an embarrassing kind of name, you know, so just like the weird mental shit that her mom was pulling, you know.
Yeah. Izu Zeke asks, were the themes of the story something planned out for the story, or is it just becomes this as we go? The second one, I feel like. Now the players might have different thoughts on that, what they leaned into, but
it's very much an improvised story, so we don't really like the themes. Just kind of happen, I think, like around us, and we as the players take meaning in that and try to derive more meaning from it. So I think that's just kind of how it knits itself together. At least that's the way I play.
Yeah. Yeah, because like sometimes when you're just, you know, improving with people, it's a collaborative sport of types. And so sometimes, you know, if you trust your scene partner, you come up with like really cool shit of you know, I'm very dissected from myself. I'm very separate when I'm playing mod, as I've talked about in these talkbacks. And so for the first, even though it was me acting the scene, I didn't get the ending the first time that I saw it. When Maud says, "All we have is hope," you know, I was like, okay, must have been just like folding in the theme of that episode being hope. But then I watched it as I was editing it, and I was like, oh, okay, no, that's what giving someone a second chance is. It's hope. It's hope that they've changed as a person. It's hope that they will continue to change. That's really cool. I didn't know I did that, you know? So in the moment I knew it, but then months and months, and I guess a year at that point had gone by before we actually I got to that scene. That I couldn't have written something that well on purpose. It kind of had to happen organically. And that's kind of like the magic of improv, is like sometimes you just get shit that's better than sitting down and writing something by yourself, because you have another person there to bounce off of, and it's a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something similar happened, because when it comes to theme, I think it is something that can both be planned and be emergent. And you actually had an example of that with Alex in this episode alone, where he has like what he thinks was going to be the final conversation with his dad to cut cleanly from the pontificate. And then he has a much more free-form, frantic discussion when he realizes that whole plan fucked up. And you end up having the two conflicts of, I thought this was going to be really cool, and it's kind of funny that this got so all out of hand.
Yeah, shame when somebody you trusted fucks over your plan. Crazy that.
That would never happen.
Well, and I think it's also a thing where it's like Alex keeps looking for something like neat and clean to like build his life around, and he's not finding it.
Yeah, he's very much the person who came from a black and white morality and is now coming to grips with the grayness of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And he hates it.
Welcome to the land of a neutral good, baby.
He kind of
chaotic good.
He's looking to the universe for signs, you know, like he left the shield out just hoping someone would take it, and they didn't. So he's like, oh, okay, you know, like he wants like a clear answer. He wants an answer, I feel like, you know, but it's not that simple.
He thought the goddess would tell him what to do, and then the goddess turned out to be very ambiguous, at least from his point of view. Yeah. There was a caught up where you asking if I was caught off guard as both me and Alex by seeing Tremont try to strangle Moira. Yes, so I was still thinking about what Alex had already done. So Steph immediately going, Tremont grabs Moira's neck and starts strangling her. I'm like, fuck, shit, we've gone from 0 to 80 really fast. So I was coming from the same standpoint as Alex, like this can't be right. He can't be doing this intentionally. Yeah,
that shot is very funny of the three of us, where Stefan's like, is anyone going to do anything? And we all just kind of like look at each other. We're like,
fuck, I don't know.
Karna knew exactly what he was doing, and like I read it right away. It's like, oh, he's killing her so she doesn't talk. So like I'm like, Karna knows that.
And Karna's the person who prompted that action, essentially. So
kind of like, again, it's not something I told him to do. Yeah. It was something that's like, hey, you better have a good story. You better make sure it holds up.
Well, and Tremont thought, yeah, I better make sure it holds up. All right, here we go. Gonna go away for a little while I kill this woman.
just gonna compartmentalize this in the back of my head. And it's great because it also paints this parallel of Karna, who just killed his first people, and he's just like looking at this, and it's like, how does one do that? Like, so that's
killing again.
Yeah, that's one thing that's going to come up in book 3 for sure, is just Karna dealing with the aftermath of murdering people.
Yeah, it's not murder, it's war, but
it's, well, justify that to Karna.
Killing people, yeah. And I did want to say on the topic of themes, I am a little more intentional, I think, than everyone else.
That makes sense. You're the DM.
Only in that, like, I don't build things around themes. I just I bring in the situations that I think will tie into everyone's stories. And then as themes start to arise, I try to build around the ones that I've been seeing form. I don't try to force a theme basically ever, because I just don't think that lends to good storytelling. I think it's better to find your theme and then accentuate it. Both in this and in screenwriting, I think it applies well to both. But yeah, the Tremont thing, like with him making that choice, was literally just Karna said something that made sense to him, and he agreed, and that was his reaction to that.
It is odd how many things Karna and Tremont actually do have in common at the end of the day, which is like
oddly enough, their demeanor is not that dissimilar.
Yeah, they both have an understanding of each other, I think, in a way, but they're just kind of at odds.
And Karna is a lot more resentful of that. I think it seems like he hates it.
Karna hates a lot of things right now, a lot more things than he used to hate.
I was just making notes about like what we can do for like YouTube shorts, like for stuff, and one of them was just Karna getting increasingly stressed out during book 2.
Yeah. It would lead into book 3 for sure.
Speaking of leading into book 3, Southern Vices was asking whether there be another prologue type episode when we go into book 3, like to wrap up loading the fauna onto the boats and any transitional moments before starting the book proper. When we started filming, we didn't like sit down and go, okay, here is going to be a prologue episode like what we did for 5.5.
Yeah, no, if there ends up being anything sort of between the seasons, it'll be something that we decide to film between then and now, which probably is not going to happen. So at the moment, the answer is no to that.
Yeah, episode 5.5 actually only happened because we needed to level people up. There's a second half to that recording that I think we were going to give to patrons or something like that. I think it's edited, but we didn't include it in the episode because we were like, not everyone wants to see this, like we'll just save
all
it for
all the math rock stuff.
Yeah.
For the most part, when it came to leveling up, especially between books 2 and 3 and books 3 and 4, Quinn and I just kind of like picked our spells and like added the stuff to our sheet.
They kind of just went off and did it.
It's like, okay, what spells do I want? That and that. There we go.
I think what was happening was like Stefan was trying to walk Jesse through it. Meanwhile, Nick's with his books and I'm on my laptop going, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Done. Numbers have been increased, and I now have these abilities. Do I think Karna would have gotten along well with Wake Scalebound? Karna gets along well with pretty much everybody. Pretty much everybody. Even people who he might consider an enemy, he would try to get along with first.
Fextricity asks, just to get this one out of the way, where should the soundtrack be available once it's posted? It'll definitely be on YouTube. We're going to post the entire thing on YouTube for people to listen to, but it'll also be on a good number of music services. Though right now we're thinking not Spotify for many reasons.
Or SoundCloud. We're going to try and be picky.
Yeah. Matthew Monkbot asks, where's Billy? Did she not make it back to the bakery? Billy made it back to the bakery. Ren went back and got Billy and took her back to the bakery.
I don't think we've ever said that out loud, so that makes me feel good.
Yeah, I'll give people that peace of mind. There's nothing happened to Billy.
Ooh, I like this one. Lil Collins asking, what was everyone's favorite piece of art for this season now that it's been edited and viewed? Oh, man, I got a couple. The scene with Alex handing off his medallion to his dad and Mystery Man in Vitago. If only because when that one came up in the montage. So I try not to watch the finished episodes until we do this, I want my reaction to be fresher. But when Stefan gave us the test edit of episode 10, I immediately opened that and jumped to the end to see what the montage was going to be. and that was the slide where I went, well, what the fuck? Who the fuck is this?
That might be a fun one to hold off on next book to like actually get all your like visceral reactions to the ending.
Damn it. No, I can't wait that long. don't want to wait here with these people.
Or record yourself and it'll be a members only video of just you reacting to the montage.
I'll do that. If I could just get that cut early, I'll do it.
Yeah.
There's a couple pieces from Maud. Like Maud's art, like the more we get to know her, obviously, like the better the more fitting her art gets as we go along, just because we get to spend more time with her and she gets to be like more cat-like. I love the pieces where she's like cat-like and like goofy and cute. The first one is just like when she's like, it's on the boat when she's killing people, and she like has her paw around someone, and she's just like this. She looks, it's so funny. I love that one. And also just the one where she's floating in the water and she's just had her head bashed in is really good.
Yeah.
Just shush, shush, shush. Yeah, Mod floating in the water is up there for me. Just, I'm done with this. God, why? Just, I can tell, Stefan, you really enjoy drawing Cassie because you draw her in such fun poses, doing such like, there's such soul in her drawings whenever she shows up or does something fun, like the shot where she sliced somebody, her playing the flute.
I don't think I feel anything drawing Cassie. I just try to do justice to the character. But
you're numb, we know.
I don't feel anything. No, Cassie's like always like very, very cute and slay. All of her positions.
Yeah, yes, all the positions. I'm not allowed to say, but if I had a, God, yeah, it's so hard. It might not even necessarily be a piece of art specifically, but the way you had like Sunder fly up in the air when I summoned it onto the battlefield, I think was just like a really, really cool beat. I loved that.
Thank you, everybody.
Stefan, what's your favorite? What's the favorite of your children?
Weirdly, I think I'm most happy with the and it's not a particularly like impressive shot, but I'm most happy with the shot of the bounty, like Skitter Kit looking at the bounty before you realize the Skitter Kit and the tears dropping onto the page. I put effort into making sure that felt right because I wanted that effect to be good.
Oh yeah, people brought up the Cassie and Sappho interaction. That was very funny.
Yeah.
Not to mention that, speaking of art, that it seemed like we had a few more animated segments compared to book one, where it was a lot more static images.
Yeah, and that's just me not being able to hold in my desire to like push
You
things.
want to do something cool?
And if I have time to do it, like I try to do, what I can. I'm trying to do it in ways where it's like, this is a good moment to spend this extra effort, and I can't do it all the time, but in those moments, I'll take the opportunity. Otherwise, this will get so out of hand that it can't just become an animated thing because then it won't ever get made.
Joseph Sciola with a $5 dono asked, were you expecting us to take Errol hostage, or was that not a possibility you considered? I think I know the answer, and like it's probably something that like, sure, anything can happen, but
Sure. Yeah, that's your guess?
that's my guess as to your reaction there. But
I had no thought about what would happen, really. I knew the situation they were in. I know all the characters. So I just sort of, I think people like, because the beginnings of seasons are so structured, people think that like I am planning more than I am, but legitimately I plan like the opening, like sort of episode of things, and I plan like certain beats here and there. But beyond that, I have very little, I give myself very little like of a road to follow, and it allows me just to keep things loose, keep things free. I'm not like stuck in a mindset of, well, I have to do this here at this point. That can just be limiting for me. So I tend to not plan too much. Like I knew the basic idea of what was going to be happening in the story, and then decisions they made would change how the characters act, and that's just kind of how I approached it.
would the group have allowed Sister Wit to stay with them if she chose to?
I think Maud would have demanded it.
Yep. Jesse, you as a person seem to be an NPC collector, like that kind of a player. You just like having NPCs.
Yeah, it's fun. Because also like I love acting off of Stefan, and he's the DM. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a permanent fucking character for you to embody, and they will hang out with us, and you will like it.
So you just wanted Stefan to have a DMPC.
Well, it's also just that like Cassie fucking rules, and I think I would have been legitimately sad if she was just in book 2.
We were talking about Wit.
Oh, Wit.
The abyss that you kept trying to collect.
Yes, that her also. Well, I mean, because I didn't hear the first half of that question. Well, I did want to like, I think it'd be fun if one day she is able to be convinced to join the other side. I think that'd be very fun. Because whenever that happens narratively in anything, it has to be earned for it to feel good. And maybe in book 9 or whatever the fuck, we'll see her again. And maybe her mind has been changed a bit just by these little interactions that she's had with the crew. I think that'd be fun.
And I'll just
And it would
note,
mean
like,
something.
you don't know what's happened to her when she goes back.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know if we'll ever see her again.
She could be dead.
She already got
but at
demoted.
least
But
I just needed, because Maud's, she just needed to give her a chance, She wanted to hear it one more time because, like, maybe her mind has been changed.
all Maud is saying is give Wit a chance.
Witty.
Ronan of Death
Well,
asking. Oh, sorry.
I actually wanted to like dig in a little bit just because like Maud, not Maud, but the conversation between Wit and Maud ended up accidentally making Wit a very interesting character to me. I'm like, is Wit the most interesting character NPC I've made, just in terms of like how she thinks?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, no,
because, her thoughts on like what the right thing to do are so nuanced.
Yeah, no, she became very interesting, like, of
And it's just because you were asking her questions.
yeah, I know, because it's like, we have our background in improv and theater and all that shit, and so it's like, yeah, you know what? Let's talk about it. What does she think? And like we were talking about before, sometimes really interesting shit comes up because of that. Where if we had just seen Wit in book 1 and that was the last we saw of her, I don't think I would have thought of her ever again. But now she is a fully formed character with all of these like very intricate, the dichotomy of all whatever the fuck is going on in her brain is so interesting because like from the conversation with her, I could genuinely see her perspective of like, if I was living in this world and there's this really powerful big force that is hurting people, like, could I use that? Should I be in that organization so that I can help people?
How do you feel about feeding people to alligators? It's really a question.
Yeah. Like I can't, if your life was totally different and you were born in a fantasy world, I don't know what kind of person I would be. So it is very interesting. Yeah.
And I think like it's easy to think of Wit as like just like the apostles or just like Moira, but she is essentially just a social worker who's trying to help children.
So
Yeah.
the thing like that's the wrinkle that gets me is I think like Moira has there's a lot unexplored with her.
Oh, for
clearly
sure.
she was an orphan, made an orphan by the church, who was then indoctrinated by the church, and we know next to nothing about her because right now Karna just can't fucking stand their presence, and
Yeah, I was wondering,
doesn't have
like,
anything.
Yeah, I was wondering because like I thought I put out little meaty little nuggets.
Oh,
about
you
Moira.
absolutely did.
But you
know
seem
what?
so
Karna's
uninterested.
Fucking tired.
So Karna was uninterested. Got it.
It's what my character would do. My
Gotcha.
character didn't want to see her die, but was okay watching her die if she didn't look like she wanted help.
And yeah, that's one of the few things I did plan was Moira's backstory. So many things weren't planned. Like everything everything Wit said about her motivations were made up on the spot. But Moira is one of the few characters I planned out exactly why she was motivated to be the person she is.
And yeah, no, it's very easy in fantasy to just be like, everyone in this army is bad, and not think anything else of it. So honestly, getting to see all of these different motivations and all of these different reasons and stuff that people are in the pontificate, why they leave, all these different things really helps to flesh out like the idea of not everyone who is in this army is doing it for the reason of I want to be evil and bad.
Yeah.
There's some people that are kind of like brainwashed into it. There are some people that are like raised to be in it. There are some people that like realize while they're in it, like, oh, actually, are we the bad guys? Are we the baddies?
Yeah, well, Tremont had that thought a long time ago, but
By then he was in
Right.
too deep and he had a family.
yeah.
Realized he was a
and-
pussy.
and he had a legacy at that point too.
Well, yeah, totally.
There was a point where Karna might have like helped Moira quicker, and that was when he asked, Tremont, like, was she obliterated as well? But as soon as he said no, it's like, well, my sympathy is tapped at the moment. Give me a
Totally. Yeah, no, because it's also the case of like with any kind of like big like army, the police force, the Coast Guard, whatever is going on. There's some people, because I come from a Coast Guard family. There are some people that like you might realize while you're in the organization, like, oh fuck, I kind of want to leave, but then you can't leave.
Yeah.
like
your
people
entire
are
life's
holding
been built
things over
around
you.
this. Yeah.
it's part of your identity. It's your entire
Right.
social circle.
And if it's how you get money, that's the thing is like I'm going into like politics and shit, but
Yeah,
like
it's what you
sometimes
know.
people get exactly people get into like army or stuff like that, so they don't get a college education. They just go straight from 18 to do this thing, and then they're like, oh fuck, well if I quit this organization, I don't have a college degree, and I'm not going to get money anymore. So I'm kind of starting from zero. So I might as well stay here, you know.
And yeah, like that's kind of
it's-
Tremont's thing is that like he's like, you know, he realized a long time ago that like he didn't think the warring was worth fighting. That he wasted his life on that. And currently there's not any wars happening, so that's good. But like, you know, he kept his distance from Alex, maybe hoping Alex wouldn't try to follow in his footsteps. And
No war. Maybe just a quick little goat people genocide. You know, just as a treat for the tree.
well,
just a quick
this is
one.
a new development.
Just as a treat.
But and it wasn't going to be genocide. They were just going to take them. That's why they had the big
They
vote.
were just gonna displace them from their land and put them somewhere else. And
It was
you
going to be
know,
bad.
No,
Just
the
a
Trail
different
of
kind of
Tears was
bad.
just an unfortunate relocation.
I'm not saying it was going to be good. And also, I think it's worth noting that like it was the thing where like at one point, Nick, like you were telling me, like I'm not sure Karna would go to greener pastures because he'd be afraid of like drawing them to greener pastures.
that is what I said to you beforehand. I'm like, I'll go along with this because I know you have like a story in mind, but this is like definitely not something he would have done.
But to be clear, they didn't know Karna was there. They had no idea. They were going there one way or another, and they were going to take the people there one way or another. So it was 100% good. I was going to have that decision be made even if you guys went off somewhere else.
See, I thought they showed up because, and maybe this is just me reading. We do this all the time.
You
where
guys
we
read incorrect things into stuff
we read
constantly.
into stuff because we
Name
saw
one time.
Well, specifically because early on in episode 6, you mentioned like as we went out. Look out again. Well, they're just sailing around Beachside Grove. And I'm like, you know, that's where we dropped the boat. They might have been able to interrogate somebody to figure out, oh, this is where they were. They went that way. Aha. So that's how they found us. That's what my brain put together.
That's not a bad assumption. But yeah, no, they didn't know you were there. And they were going to go there one way or another.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
So-
I was already thinking that was going to happen no matter. And that's actually why the story idea came up in the first place, was that like I was going to be like, oh, where do you guys want to go? And that was just going to be happening one way or another. And I was like, but like also there's a few ways in which it makes sense to go there if you're struggling and need a place to hide and people who won't say
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense that they were going to go there, whether or not, you know, because like they were rounding people up, funny, you know, so that totally makes sense.
But yeah, like I just want to touch on like Wit. Yeah, just being like Wit's more just she knows all this is bad. She knows the pontificate's not good. She knows that there's a lot of bad things being done, but her only goal is to make what little difference she can in the space she can, and that's why she still will fight. Is like, okay, well, if I can get that position back, then I can make sure at least those children are taken care of. I can do the most I can do.
Right.
The Legend of Shopalo to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's her logic, is that she has her one little part of the world that she can make better.
Yeah, and it's completely under, like we were saying, we were watching and commentating on it when you guys were watching the stream. But it makes sense that Wit beat the shit out of Maud, because she has no reason to believe Maud is not going to hurt her, because Maud just killed a bunch of people in front of her.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get it.
And if had
Like-
Maud rolled differently, she wouldn't have. But
Yeah, just like getting hit in there. Like, that's fair, Queen. Live your truth.
real quick, someone asked, will the Cassie Sappho subplot come back in any capacity? No.
We can just
It
say
was
that.
just a
No.
bit.
Spoilers.
We didn't really touch on it at all. in the next stuff at all. So Sappho doesn't come up.
Many funny relationships are like they flare and then they like kind of dwindle away. But it's a consistent thing. You go back, you go forth. It's funny culture.
It's the football.
But
if
Cassie
people
definitely had like shared feelings. It's just a thing where and maybe it was explored off screen. No one asked. No one asks Cassie about it. So
It stinks that we bring this up right at the end of Pride Month. That does feel like
Pride Month's over. We don't have to worry about it anymore.
We built them up for that purpose. No more gay illegal now until next June.
Broke up Cassie and Sappho. We had Delamere stab Karna. It's the end of the world.
But if you like shipping, there's lots of shipping in book 3 and 4, so don't worry about that.
We're on a ship right now.
We're on a ship right now.
There's plenty of stuff.
And Andy Tiedemann, first of all, thank you for watching for so long. I'm surprised you stuck around after Yu Yu Hakusho Bridge. Question is, would Maud or Alex learn any instruments from Karna? I mean, Karna would teach if anybody asked, but
technically Maud knows how to play an instrument. We've never decided what it is. I think we might have gone with drums.
I think we wanted to do something simple because like I can relearn, because I played ukulele for a while, so I could have, but that would be too close to Karna, so we wanted something a little different. And I did play drums for a long time, so drums would be the natural progression unless I wanted the fucking little screamy face instrument, and Stefan wouldn't let me.
Jesse said he wanted to use my automaton, and I'm like, you can't just have a robot.
Why can't I have a screamy guy?
It could have been a fantasy instrument of some kind.
Why can't it be a lizard that I grab?
Later for some reason it came up that like, Maud could like grab a frog and like manipulate it to make music. I'm like, if you had actually flavored it like that, I would have let it happen. You just need to give me some flavor.
Okay, you know what? I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Maud has played an instrument yet, so I might just try that.
Technically, she has no canon instrument that she knows how to play yet.
All right, let's see what happens.
Genuinely favorite Super Strays, thank you so much for the $50 dono.
Hey.
Genuinely favorite tabletop game show right now. Appreciate it. It feels like it's tailor-made for ADHD ridden brain. Yes.
That's what we're constantly. Yeah.
That is literally why it was made, because I have ADHD. Jesse has ADHD. Nick is also on that spectrum, and and I'm on Adderall right now. and I have so much trouble with stories that I do like for instance Critical Role, which I really like, but I have trouble with like the full streams. I can't watch them. And I was like, well, what would be like a version of a show? And essentially it was, I listened to Worlds Beyond Number and was like, well, this is perfect for my attention span. This is great. If this were an audio visual thing, I could do an audio visual thing. So that was really good. Is I wanted to take the Worlds Beyond Number approach to actual play and apply it to an audio visual medium.
And here's their question. Were any of you originally going to play a different character but changed your mind? What were your OG character concepts? I always have a lot of character concepts in my head. I just like coming up with different characters that I might bust out for one shots or different campaigns.
So you're gonna keep them to yourself.
I keep a lot of them to myself, but Karna, like I decided fairly early on that I wanted to play a bard, and going back to like convincing Stefan to add things in as long as they make sense, I convinced him to add like satyrs, because I'm like, I kind of want to play that like that sort of like fuckboy character, like the flirty bard. And but I also kind of wanted to be like the traveling minstrel, somebody that's been like worldly around for a long time. So I thought like the ancient Greek muses and stuff like that, which was the essential like building point for Karna, and I guess the entire Fani culture from that point.
You wanted to be Dandelion from The Witcher, or Jaskier.
There's a little bit of Jaskier for sure. My primary character, I think, beats for him were like Gandalf, Doctor Who, and just like, yeah, basically those kind of things. A little bit of Jack Sparrow, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Quinn, you definitely had one.
I mean, I only had one. I'm pretty sure. I think after we got kind of the basic concept of what the world looked like, I want someone who's part of the pontificate. And details of the character were built up later on as you were giving more detail into the pontificate. But yeah, I didn't really have alternative concepts.
I mean, you pitched one to me.
If I did, then I guess I don't remember.
You pitched to me a pixie who uses an automaton as
Right, okay,
as like
yeah.
a mech suit.
I have to, yeah, because I actually played a
Auto
game
armor,
of
sorry.
Shadowrun with that same idea, and when you talked about the pixies and what they could do, that thought did cross my mind. Actually, that was like that was the high concept of pixie that rides around an automaton is about as far as I got with that.
Yeah, but that that concept's still open. Maybe one day someone will be a pixie in an automaton.
Though I will say to because I never got to answer the bard question. When I settled on the idea that Alex would lose his oath level in Paladin, I didn't immediately default to fighter as the filler. Bard did cross my mind as one of the things that he could do. Getting together with Karna after their kind of their talk in book one. Ultimately decided against it just because it didn't feel right for him to kind of go down the bard tree that quickly.
And you
But
don't
I
want
think
Karna, and you don't want Karna to be your mentor for many reasons.
that too.
Jesse, I know we kind of just like, it seemed to me from my perspective, and you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, that you had no concepts for a character until I was like, Jesse, here's a potential little guy you might like to be with the Shopaloo, where I made up the Shopaloo specifically for you.
Yeah, no, I never gone into a D&D campaign having an idea for a character ahead of time. I like to just hear what their specific, the DM, what their specific world entails, and then that will give me an idea. And we were going through all the different kind of races and stuff like that, and then you had pitched the Shopaloo. You were like, you might actually like be into this because it's like a cat-like kind of creature. And you totally don't have to, but I'm thinking like, I might want to use French as like an influence of like, they might have like a little, an accent. And I was like, oh, I'm for sure doing that. That sounds incredible. I would love to be a French cat. And it was, it kind of rolled from there, but as I started like exploring what her personality might be, me as an autistic person, I'm constantly masking for roles. And I thought it'd be really fun if I just unmasked and I just played an autistic cat. I wanted to see what that would look like. And it's been so fucking comfortable. You don't realize like how much of a thing you're putting on until you're able to just like, just flat face, just like being yourself and relaxing and not having to care if someone else is like perceiving you in a certain way. And it made sense with her background. And her history with her family and stuff, because like when you're isolated and it's just you and your mom and your sister, you're not going to really know what masking even is, know. Her mother probably taught her about it just to be like, this is how you get people to like you. They like when you smile, stuff like that.
But she never got good at it.
I never got, and she gets a little better as time goes on. It's fun to like see her evolution of like, she loses her accent a little bit, and she's becoming more, genuinely joyous, like she's not putting it on for people. But I realized, because I'm like so in the character, the smile that she gives Karna during their end conversation is like one of the most like the least neurotypical thing I've ever done, and it was really funny to see my face do that. But she does a big smile and then she drops it immediately. But she's comfortable. She's just, the situation is weird because everyone's tired and they've been on this big journey, And I was like, that's really cool. And again, a thing like improv, like I couldn't write something that good. I just kind of happened because I was like embodying the character.
I always want to note an interesting thing of just in art, the only time I've ever drawn Maud smiling for real is when she was catching glow flies with her sister.
Yeah, the glow bugs.
When she's hugging Ren.
Oh.
And when she was hanging out with the Bakers in the flashback stuff at the beginning of episode 8.
Yeah.
So she hasn't smiled once with us. Just
Those are the moments.
Life has been miserable since you've met
Honestly,
Karna.
like I've out on top of the table laughed a lot. I don't think Alex has done much smiling either.
Yeah,
it's why like Karna kind of like broke a little when you were being so frantic. It's like he's showing humanity. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, no, because we've talked a lot about like masking and stuff, and it's like, yeah, Alex, I feel as if now he's letting his guard down. You know, he doesn't have to be around all these serious military people all the time. And now he's like showing his real personality for the first time because he's figuring out who he is. And now he's like, he's a goofy guy, and that's really fun.
And he's stuck with his dad. And
He's stuck with his dad.
And it's type A,
Yeah, I would say-
anxious.
Yeah, I would say the straw that broke the camel's back on his kind of stern mask was his faith in Fora, which wasn't at the forefront of this book, but he still had. That's why he still had a lot of his apostle regalia, which he finally ditched in this episode, because he was of the mindset that after book one, okay, there's something going on in the pontificate that seems weird. Maybe it's the pontificate misinterpreting Fora. And then he sees everything that happens in Greater Pastures and went, if the goddess is okay with all of this, then I'm not. There's a big problem here. But he tries to it goes to what I was looking for as the kind of the sucker for romantic tropes of not romantic tropes, but being a romantic, is having that conversation with his father and saying, Alex the Apostle is dead. Ugh.
it's
And
not
then
a
being
phase, Dad.
Yeah, no, and then being done with it, and then he has the whole second conversation with his dad, going, like, "This isn't how I planned it out at all, and what is happening?"
Nothing ever goes as
Yeah.
Alex plans.
Totally. Yeah, no, it's very like, you're right. It's very like classic hero book written. The first time he says goodbye to his father is like, this is it. And then the second time it's his real personality showing and being like, oh fuck, this sucks.
Yeah, no, it's the person who had a plan, like I don't know what you call it, but like an emotional plan. Like he's already structured out what he's going to be in 5 years as a person,
Yeah.
and then day 2 of the plan.
Also, slight correction. Maud is slightly smiling in her main image for this season with like
Yeah, I was
her
gonna
makeup
say.
and
Yeah.
great gestures.
When she was relaxed and chill, there was a moment where it's like, this can be an everyday thing.
She
Yeah,
stopped.
it's
She
like
stopped
Good Place.
smiling at episode 9 when she started getting stabbed.
Like most people.
I wonder why.
Also,
Southern. Go ahead.
quick answer to like all the questions I've seen been popping up in the chat about what's going on with Alex. If it's anything that happened after that ending scene in this finale episode, it's something that's you're gonna have to wait to
We
see.
ain't saying shit.
Your answers are not going to be here. They're going to be in book 3.
But Southern Vices asks, are there any potential storylines that you consider this book that the others didn't take? Like, was the mirror just a not taken story path? Kinda. It's sort of a thing where there's lots of things in that first episode where I just set up threads to potentially follow, and I specifically I had Alex and Maud like see 2 different things, and I let Karna sort of just decide which of those people is he most interested in following, and that, depending on who he followed, the story could have been entirely different.
Yep.
Like fundamentally. And like also like Alex sort of being alone with Fergus, like if roles had gone differently, Fergus as a character would have been a very different character. Because as he is now, he's still kind of the lovable uncle. He just has a dark side. And he's kind of like worked to like regain some honor from being dishonorable earlier in the book. But if things had gone differently, he would have thrown Alex off of a cliff. And Alex would have been struggling to live. and he would have hidden it, and it would have been an entire just villain arc for Fergus. Like things could have been entirely differently, and that's why I don't really plan too hard, because like anything could happen, and I just sort of leave it open.
Sometimes the dice tell a story.
Yeah.
Jonathan Ross asking, is Sunder Karna's main weapon or side weapon? Karna has never wielded Sunder in a martial context. He's used it to cut things before, but the only thing that wields Sunder that Karna's like willing to even visualize is his muse, which when it's wielding Sunder, he always sees as like, you know, he sees Delamere in his head whenever he's having Sunder be wielded about and slicing like it is when it's animating. Because in a lot of ways, love is Karna's muse, and when he thinks of love, he thinks of Delamere. Like that's the primary image in his head.
Izu Zeke asks, Stefan, what's the moment you consider the most off the rails bet the players have done throughout these 2 books so far? Off the rails.
It's got to be like the end of book 5, or us like hupping the flower decanter to Fergus's.
That's the thing. I don't, because I don't try and have too many rails, it's hard for them to get off of the rails. Like I'm trying to think, is there anything that really threw me?
Like a plan that we had. They're like, oh, that's neat. Okay, let's see. Like interesting plans, I guess would be.
You know what? Yeah, there's one that was like, where I just kind of had to explain to you guys, how does this work? Where you guys are like, and it got cut from the episodes because it just didn't go anywhere. But for a while, you guys were talking about like making a makeshift raft to like jump on to like roll down the river to get down to the shore faster.
Yeah, because we were trying to like make the travel quicker so we might be able to actually get some sleep in.
That's in the deleted scenes.
And it was just like, I guess you could try, but like there's better options than this. There's more normal options.
But we just ended up walking, and it was fine. It allowed for more character moments.
I remember specifically, I can't remember if I'm the one that brought that up, but I was following along with it because I was looking at the map of Greener Pastures. And
yeah, we're looking at the river.
There's this river that goes down from around the town. We could just ride the river down.
But there's also
and I was thinking, that like to try to like fit it into the world, the Fani might actually use that river to transport farm goods from village to village. So maybe it already exists as infrastructure.
And as far as like throwing things off, I would assume it's also when Maud was like, we're going to spend all our money on sex workers, and that will be the plan.
Yeah, you know what?
Honestly,
that's the most off the rails.
You're when you have to come up with a plan on your own. Yes, there you go.
Because you sort of just walked yourself into a dead end, and I had to use Ren to get you out of it.
Spend all the money on prostitutes, and I don't know what to do.
And it wasn't a dead end because like you could have just stolen a boat in the first place and just kept the money. So nothing was ever going to be a dead end there. But like it's something you're just like, okay,
there was a very remote. There's maybe one universe out there where it happened where Maud got a boat and then it crewed it with the prostitutes.
Yes, hell yeah. I think at least once. Maybe not book 2, but maybe in books 1, 3, and 4, Maud has an insane thing going on in her brain that you're like, at least a couple of you are like, how does this work, Jesse? Like you as the player, I don't understand. And I'm like, listen, no, it makes sense because this, and this, but it's like fucking crazy.
There's specifically a point in book 3 where you are desperately trying to explain your logic, and I had to stop you and be like, Jesse, we got to move on because nobody's ever going to see why this makes sense.
But it made perfect sense to Maud. And then afterwards, once I was out of character, I was like, oh yeah, that's crazy.
I think all of us were questioning you. It's like, we're in combat, Jesse.
And you guys will see when that happens.
It made perfect sense while I was in character. Out of character, I was like, what was I thinking?
Given his age and number of partners, does Karna have kids of varying ages scattered about, or is he using magical contraception? I think Stefan has decided that he can't mate with anything outside of the Fani race.
Now he's probably fucked plenty of Fani.
Oh, for sure. Like he might have a
lot of Fani men might have children.
Yeah. After what happened at Emerald Coast back in Karna's, backstory, he would have left and gone back to greener pastures for some time to kind of collect himself, which was probably why he would have been there for Cassie's birth and some of her early years, which is why they have a relationship. So in that time, he might have fathered a few children. Maybe it's hard to say.
Yeah,
there's no way to know.
Well,
maybe all 3 of the hillbillies are his boys. Unclear.
Also, plenty of the Fani he just met in his travels just on the main island as well. Like there's plenty of opportunities.
It's a cultural thing. It's like, oh hey, what's up? Want to fuck? Let's go.
and you know, this is a mild like world building spoiler, but like there's other kinds of Fawny too. So like they don't all look exactly like Karna looks. So like there are options out there. It's just I just can't square in my head the idea of a human and Fawny mating with like their biology being so fundamentally different. In terms of like, you guys have different stomachs, you guys have different teeth, like your teeth don't work the same. Like because I based it on goats, so like you guys have these multi-chambered stomachs that are not compatible with humans. You have teeth that continually grow unless you file them down.
I get the logic. Don't get me wrong. I understand your logic. I'm just like, yeah.
Well, when every other world goes, fuck it. You know, what if a world didn't say fuck it?
Literally.
Yeah.
So
There's still a lot of heavy petting, no doubt.
Cassie wouldn't know
sure.
if Karna's Cassie wouldn't know if Karna's dad. That's the one person Karna knows is not his daughter.
Yeah, that's
because Cassie is Karna's sister's daughter.
Yeah, there's no possible way. The Fawny are
None.
not that freaky.
I am curious if there is magical contraception, and you don't have to address
sure
it
is.
now. But I would be like, you know, like magicians and shit. Do they just like? No, I'm thinking of benders. If they bend the cum out, you know, after
There's probably like a magic ring that just like kills all the sperm and just
Ring of sterility, yeah. Cock ring of sterility, yeah. It exists. I've now made it canon just now.
Hell yeah.
need to come up with a book of just like
Forbidden
fake items.
just-
I have a lot of homebrew items I can give you. Just
Yeah,
I
that's
bring
like
a cock ring
the
of temporary sterility, very important.
ooh. It's like the equivalent of
you get the cursed version.
Yeah,
what's it called? What's it? I'm blanking on the word. Vasectomy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's magical ways to do lots of like things we would usually attribute to science in our own world. You know, magic is essentially science to this world. It's how their universe works. So like, you know, there's magical ways to transition, for instance. There's magical ways to do surgeries and stuff. Like the like I was actually talking in the chat of one of the videos with somebody about how like the way the potions work absolutely allows you to like make normal medical work easier. Like if you are having a surgery and then you can like use the potions to sort of apply and make sure people heal very quickly, you can save a lot of people's lives that way. Like
yeah.
So like it helps with just like normal medical practitioners as well, which do exist in this world because of course they would have to. Not everybody has access to magic potions.
Yeah, you make it sound like magic is a relatively rare thing. Like it just kind of pops up in so many people. I mean, people.
Yeah,
can
magic is
probably
everywhere, but practitioners are somewhat rare.
Like you either have to go to school and like really study how to wield it like a wizard, but very few people are just born with it.
It takes effort and time to become a practitioner of magic. Most people are normal people, just like most people aren't rocket scientists. You know, like it's a normal thing, but it's not a common thing.
So we're special.
I was wondering about that because you were, you know, in this episode you specifically talk about scar removal, and that makes sense. That makes sense that you would just be able to, you know, it's very interesting to think about the like healing someone as you're doing a surgery. That's a very interesting thing to me, you know, because I'm like, oh wow, that totally makes sense.
It makes recovering from a surgery very easy. Like we're like,
yeah,
like easier than our own world right now. Like,
yeah, because
like sort of like drip a little thing on, and it's like, hey, you're good.
Yeah, because when you think about, you know, the fantasy world where there's danger like fucking everywhere, like, you know, it makes sense like in a video game and stuff like that people heal so fast because you have to go. You gotta like, there's a dragon right next to you right now, like you know.
It's funny, it's like for you guys to be like going like and because I imagine like really like conscientious people are like sort of like dabbing it on places and like applying it
really
like,
delicately,
like not wasting. You guys are just like
like a thing of Gatorade.
That could actually be kind of a fun mechanic. Is like if you delicately and precisely apply the potion, maybe you roll your healing with advantage.
Yeah, if you do a medicine check, you get to like have another use of your potion.
Or if you just like take a full turn, like you take a while to apply it, you just get better healing out of it.
And you just spend an entire turn action, reaction, and movement, or action, bonus action, and movement.
So, or if you're just taking it out of combat and you're allowed to take it at your leisure.
Write this down. Write it down.
Yeah. No, that's
it could be a
thought.
fun. It could be a fun original mechanic. Do not steal.
We did get not only was this question in chat, but I think it also popped up in the comments for another video. But are there any magic schools that aren't in the control of the pontificate?
That was in the comments of the video. Yes. Nah. The answer is yes.
There are places that aren't in control of the pontificate. So
Plus, I would imagine for the pontificate, it's essentially one magic school with maybe different branches. It's just the church taking control of it.
Well, and there's multiple schools in the pontificate as well.
But are you seeing schools in the sense of like building for people who can go learn? Because that I would agree with.
As institutions, like not like schools of magic in the D&D sense. But there are multiple universities you can attend to learn different things or to learn the same things depending on where you need to go.
All ultimately under the control of the pontificate.
Within the pontificate, yes. And there might be alternate schools within the pontificate as well for people who aren't looking to go into government. There's no reason why that wouldn't exist. But I imagine those would be private institutions. While
the
it's actually
Vatagan
free to attend school in the pontificate if you're going into their system.
I mean, the Vatagan Institute for Scholarly Pursuits. You just
Yes.
said one that's within the and clearly they study not just holy magic, but they must study the Incantari magic. Otherwise, how would they understand it?
Well, that's what scholars do. In the pontificate, there are scholars who their whole job is to study the more aberrant forms of magic to the pontificate and see what they can learn from them and see how they can counteract what those people do. So like it's an entire branch of what they do.
Like Clarence, he's so cool.
Yeah, Clarence is a scholar. We
Everyone loves Clarence.
Except Alex.
Reezy Lee asks, will you guys have any other players come in later on? Yes, we are making plans for that. No, we don't know who yet, but we have many thoughts. We do want to bring in more people. We'd love for the show to not just be 4 white dudes. We are gunning for that as soon as possible.
With all the variations of facial hair, just going down a line.
For trying this idea out, we really just went for who's on payroll and wants to do this.
At least run the sexual orientation gamut.
Well, that's true. We have
There's
a gay.
some level of diversity here.
Our diversity is invisible.
We have a gay. We have a trans. Happy Pride is over.
a bisexual.
Fuckers.
It's things you can't see. We got to be actively making out with people, and then people will see.
But yes, no, yeah, we were looking to also have diversity at the table, not just me making sure there's diversity in the world.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm so glad we have the bare minimum of making sure that there's diverse characters. Some guys just don't like. Some groups just not thinking about it.
How boring. And how boring those people are.
How boring that they play with their friends.
Well, no. That their world doesn't have more variety in it. I saw people saying that they generally appreciated the Fawny culture being less Eurocentric in how it's made and stuff, and how people act. And I'm glad people felt that way. I was hoping people wouldn't feel like they were being in any way appropriated or misrepresented, but I took from many different cultures to put the Fawny together, and I think that helps to make sure nobody feels like they're like you're not human. You're like, but people just appreciate other kinds of cultures being represented, and I'm glad they felt that way.
Yeah, it's one of those questions of I forget who I was talking to, but it's a thing of like, oh, it's really cool that there's if there's gay people or trans people in this world or whatever. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, it'd be fucked up because in every world that should be by default, that there are people of different sexual orientations and races and this and that. Because if we make a point to take them away, then that means we're taking away something. Yeah. Like they should all have it by default because trans people exist in the world and gay people exist in the world and people of different races exist in the world.
For sure.
So it's making a statement if you don't put them there. If that makes sense.
Everything's political in some way. And it's also a thing where like I also I made a choice in this world to feel like, the pontificate, they're they're fucked up in a religious way, but not in a they hate gay people religious way. They don't care about that. They don't really have a reason to care about that.
They're not monsters, like you said.
Yeah. They're not monsters. They have free healthcare, free education, and they don't care if you're gay.
It's just like the fucking Chucky clip.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking.
They just hate you if you're different and have magic in your blood. They just hate your blood. Your poison blood.
And like, I'm not saying there aren't like places in this world where like there are people who are more like cultures that are more fixated on gender roles. There are, and I think we're gonna explore one a little bit going forward. But my goal is not to be like it's realistic if everybody's bummed out because they're all oppressed in the exact same ways they are in our world. It's like, well, there could be a varied ways people could have a better life, or have a good life in some ways.
You're too nice in some ways. Just
it's
to have the world be mean.
The world is mean sometimes. Everyone will see. Everyone will see.
We just choked a woman.
But your world is never mean in that way.
Right? Yeah. Like. I
think you as a person just feel averse to like making characters like that.
Well, and it's been done.
Yeah, it's just it's been done so much that it's like, can we try something new?
Why put something in the way of us having some form of representation in our world? Why? Fuck that. And we could explore it elsewhere if someone ever wants to explore it. Usually, like if a player would like to explore it. But Super Strays asks, Stefan, would you ever let someone else in the party DM a game in your world, and you become a player? At the moment, no.
Not until the world is way more established, I imagine.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the hard part. Like, because my first thought there is like Matt Mercer letting Brennan and Abria run stuff for Exandria Unlimited in Critical Role. But
that's a world that is so well established.
So like there's a source book and everything for it. Like there's and also they're like DMs that he knows really well, and he knows like a lot about how they play and stuff.
Because that's the thing. Also, is just like we don't know enough about. I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like Nick Quinn and I don't know enough about the world to confidently DM it right now. Like Stefan has all of the knowledge, so I might fuck up immediately.
I've been trying to get him to tell me shit, but I don't think he knows it yet.
And you don't want to like just start saying like, yeah, this is a thing, instead of being like, no, it ain't.
And then a centaur comes in, and
you find the herd of centaur. And
when you have multiple DMs in the same world, it's usually one of two things. One, the world's already very well established by one storyteller, a la Critical Role's Exandria,
or you just like choose a location like Faerun or something.
Yeah, or you end up having a short story that you don't want to come back to, or aren't going to come back to, like Crown of Candy and the Ravening War for Dimension 20.
Yeah, it reminds me of way back when, like 8 or so years ago, TFS at the table, Zito was going on vacation. It's like, oh, I want to run a one shot, kind of based around the Natural Wonders, and he was like, I got a lot of lore and stuff in the world. It's like, no, hear me out. I want to do it in the style of what a Natural Wonders Saturday morning cartoon show would look like. Everybody just kind of cranked to 11, cartoon logic, not super non-canon. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I want to see his reaction when he gets back. That was a fun one shot.
See,
I feel like us. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I feel like us DMing anything right now, or at least me DMing something in this world right now, would feel like when in Never Stop Blowing Up, where Brennan has that thing where it's like, if you get a nat 20, you can DM for 1 minute. And then like if he would run up and be like, okay, the guys say you're really cool. You can come in. If anyone fucks with these guys, we're gonna fucking kill them. And then everyone comes. That's so fucking funny. I was dying when that happened. But also it is purposely cartoony. So if we were tone. Yeah, the tone is obviously like a new narrator is there, which can be very funny in context. If there was like an April Fool's thing where it was completely non-canon, that'd be very fun. But as of right now, of a serious tone thing, I couldn't do that right now in this world.
The Saturday Morning Wonders was absolutely because of the fan art, and then it spawned a lot of fan art. I love so much of the fan art that came from that.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone who's done fan art of
Yeah,
Tales. That's incredible.
Oh yes,
have we had any to show off? Because I remember like wanting to show some off and maybe.
Yes,
one
and
of these.
I didn't prep it in the stream, so I apologize. But yeah, we on the blue sky for Tales Unwritten, we've been reposting whatever it's called. It's retweeting. We've been retweeting stuff there for when people send us fan art there.
Well, maybe we can set some time aside to record something later where we actually like show off some stuff for the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if there's enough of it. I feel like right now there might not be the volume enough to make a video. There might only be like, I only saw 3, but I don't know. Is that correct? Is there more?
There was like 3 or 4 from 2 people that I recall off the top of my head.
I could just put them right up against the phone.
Go ahead.
Khaleesi.
Oh.
Sorry. Khaleesi's getting fur in my... Oh.
Kitty.
Pumpkin was sleeping right next to me, and Khaleesi was like, I would like that bed. And Pumpkin was like, what the fuck? It just dove off kissing. I don't know. Yeah, good.
Jonathan Ross asks, what did you base the Sender's personality on? Kind of a really angry Captain Janeway from Star Trek. And now when you go back and listen, you're like, oh yeah, that is a little bit of Captain Janeway's voice.
I just always imagined it as like what you're thinking when I'm talking. So
No, I don't have like that angry thoughts usually about people I know.
how could I know? How could I know?
That's true.
I'm not in your brain. You
Golden
could be
Bomber
lying to me.
asks, Golden Bomber asks, does this world have any sort of pantheon? I feel like the only gods we know of are Fora and the Fawny god. Well, there hasn't ever been a Fawny god established, so you know what?
Yeah,
Probably
the
thinking of
great the great shepherd is more of a messianic figure.
Yes.
He's more of a Fawny Jesus. So,
There's
Or
many
Moses.
different kinds of beliefs in this world. A lot of which I don't intend to fully ever be like point at and go, yes, this is definitely real. It's another one of my weird pet peeves about like every fantasy story always being like, yes, God is real and you should worship him. I'm like, yeah, well, okay, let's have a little bit of like the distance we have in the real world of like where faith is kind of a requirement for
yeah.
this sort of
Except
stuff.
for those people that live under their god, quite literally.
Hey, where do clerics' powers come from if gods don't exist? Like,
Well, and I
That could make
have potential
atheists.
answers for that. But are there many belief systems of gods and stuff out there and belief in gods? Absolutely. The Fawny are kind of more into animism, and just general like almost Shinto Buddhist or indigenous American sort of beliefs of just the spirits of the world and nature. And I think all of them will have some nugget of truth to them, even if the details aren't always right. Now,
yeah, as we explore the world more, we'll find more people that believe in different things.
for sure. I mean, hell, we know about the cult of Algus, and we don't know what Algus is. We don't know if that's a god, right? The cult of Algus is the blindfold people that Martin was pretending to be.
Oh.
Alex was pretending to be as Martin.
Yeah. So
I
the only thing we
totally-
know about them is that they're commonly armed and cover their eyes because they don't think they should give people access to their eyes, and they're called the cult of Algus.
They're just all on the spectrum. None of them can make eye contact. Just
I think they're afraid of being controlled through their eyes.
I was thinking it's like a bird box thing.
funny enough, there's a character I was thinking of that like can do that like charm person hypnosis like a vampire with their eyes.
It's not that crazy in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I completely forgot about that cult after Martin becomes Alex. Like I think I just am realizing now, like, right, that's a real cult in the world. That makes sense.
Martin didn't make that up. It was established. That's how he was able to like walk around.
Right. Wow. That is interesting.
And Algus might be some sort of like prophet, might be an actual being they worship. We'll see.
Just a guy in a basement.
Could just be hanging out there somewhere, just waiting. He could be behind you right now.
Lilith Collins asks, how do your characters identify their sexual orientation. Players
Karna's
can feel free to
absolutely
not
pan.
answer this if they want. Karna pan, yes.
I mean, there's no way. Just every way I described it.
And also, that's the most appropriate thing he could be is pan.
yeah. Welcome to my labyrinth. That's what I call my.
That's what I call my sexuality.
That's what I call my flute. I think Maud is just kind of hanging out. Like, she's just Maud. I don't know.
And then there's Maud.
Yeah, I think as we see Maud interacting with the world, things might change in ways where she's like, oh, I guess this is cool. You know, like she was probably she was taught about sexual orientation by her mom. And I think that's all I'll say now, I guess, you know,
just taken deep into the swamp. Look at how they sloths. Look at them. They're getting to it.
We're gonna wait 4 hours, and soon you're gonna see something happen.
You have to wait till it finishes. This is a marathon.
That was the sex ed.
Izuzik asks, is Karna and Maud a top or bottom? Who would like to answer that first? I feel like I know the answer, but
it depends on Karna's partner.
Yeah, I was gonna say Karna's a switch for sure.
Yeah, with Maud, I don't know. She's just discovering like sex, so I think it's just gonna develop as she's had more sex. For now, she's kind of just like, oh, this is cool, you know.
It sounds like she's been bottoming a little bit.
Yeah, I would say switch just because of like she doesn't know the words for it. She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't understand that there's a difference between a top and a bottom. So she's just like, this is all sex, you know. And also that's probably also how a lot of people have sex if they're like heteronormative or straight.
You gotta figure
whatever,
it out.
You know?
You gotta figure out what your thing is. What works.
Yeah, like they don't use the words like we do in queer culture as commonly. So there's probably a lot of straight people out there that don't know if they're a top or a bottom because they don't understand. They're like, oh, I thought that was a gay thing, you know, like they don't understand.
And I feel like for Shopaloo, it's kinda anything goes. Like they kind of just probably have some weird system where like, you know, you kind of just fight each other and whoever ends up on top is gonna be running things. You both agree to fight first. Like it's still consensual.
The male bites the back of the neck and just like goes like. I think Karna like by nature would probably be what you'd call a service top, but
I don't know how to pronounce this name, but someone with an Osmosis Jones avatar asks, so what was that red mirror? I'm not telling you.
It was a mirror. And it was red.
It was a red mirror.
You saw as much of the red mirror as we wanted you to see.
Yep. And again,
maybe
the players didn't ask any questions, so
players couldn't ask questions. We didn't know about it.
And if we never come back to it, it's because no one ever asked Maud.
Again, maybe we'd know more about it if Karna had chose to follow Maud, but you chose
or
to
if
follow
any of them
Alex.
had at any point brought up the red mirror in front of Maud, which no one ever did.
No one ever did.
Unfortunately, the one chance we would have had to ask, someone caught fire and self-combusted.
Yeah, somebody burned alive, and
there was more happening.
There was a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. Also, because we kind of got away from that point, when it came to sexual orientation for Alex, he is so self-restrained. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I think we kind of just sort of skipped over you because we knew that was your answer because we talked about it.
Ace icon.
He could be Ace. He could be. Who knows?
We don't know.
Canalia asks, who's the black-haired guy? Again, I'm not telling you. And also, the players have no idea either.
We were surprised by the art also.
I was like, did the magistrate change his hair color? It looks good on him.
You know, he's not a magistrate. He's also in Vitega because there's 4 branches are there.
I just hear like Maud's like little, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, I will let you guys know that it's a guy who I'll point out does not have glowing golden eyes for a reason.
Noted.
Clearly is dressed differently than all the other pontificate people you've seen so far, and is living in Vitega, and wherever he was is actually like on the building that's surrounding Fora herself. So certainly someone important, just you know, but not the High Pontiff. I'll say that. Not the guy in charge of everything.
We don't know what Tree Pope looks like.
Yeah. And if just in case people are wondering, there's a high pontiff, and then there's the pontifical council, which sort of manage a bit more of the day-to-day stuff for the high pontiff, and usually one of those guys is elevated to high pontiff when you need to replace one. And then below that there's commanders and heralds, and like just a chain of command going down from there. But the people
Maybe
at the
that guy's-
top are the
oh.
pontifical council and the high pontiff.
Maybe that guy's Martin's dad. Just
Martin.
And that answers Matthew Monkbot's question of, was all the post-credit stuff book 3 stuff? No, it's stuff well beyond. It's just stuff that's happening at this point in this world. That's all.
yeah, stuff that's related to what's going on.
Some of it may never be fully followed up on. Some of it might be followed up on in coming books that we've already filmed. It's a grab bag. I'm just looking at stuff, looking for more questions. I think we're all tapped out of questions, unless somebody has a last minute thing they want to get in before we or repeat.
Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. And Quinn walked away. So, there he's back.
Sorry, I'm at the office, so I have to make sure the doorbell ringing isn't anything important. There was a question about how many books are you guys planning in total? Whenever the
plans.
story's done, that's
Yeah.
when we'll know.
Right
Or
now, the
when the
plan
money
is
runs
just-
out.
Yeah,
when the story's run its course, or when there's no more money to produce more episodes.
yeah. It's one of those things where like we'd love for it to go on for as long as it needs to, and come to a satisfying conclusion. And we're not going to rush it. We're not going to rush it to that point. So it's really just a matter of, we'll see where it goes. And yeah, so the only ending will be whenever it feels right to end it, or if we just can't make any more for whatever reason.
And when it comes to stuff between books 2 and 3, we have stuff planned, but I don't think we want to make any promises yet. 'cause-
No, I mean, yeah, like we have thoughts. We want to do some streams of like more loose games, like one-shot games we can play. But we haven't fully decided what form that's going to take yet. But we will be releasing lore articles plus a little voiceover video with a couple visual elements for $5 and up members. And those will be coming out at least one a month. We'll see if there will be more than that sometimes, but the goal will be at least one a month. Just
Yeah,
skill. Thank you for.
I'll say
Go ahead.
I'll say right now I'm planning on doing some Halloween stuff for sure. Like I'm planning on recording some of that this month, hopefully, so that we can have something kind of like neat by October.
Does the Carnage tour shirt have any Easter eggs? Yes, including one I haven't seen anyone mentioned so far of what the first location on that shirt is that's listed.
The fact that it's kind of burnt out.
Yeah, but every single location on there is a location that is on the actual map we have.
Oh, I thought the first name was crossed out because they already went there on the tour, but I also didn't read it.
No, there's a different reason.
Mm.
And thank you, Joseph Skilla, for ordering a shirt. We appreciate anybody who wants to buy shirts. You don't have to, but it's real cool when you do. It's one of many ways to support the show.
You keep the train a rolling. And yeah, the shirt itself, one of the Easter eggs is actually the fact that we have a dedicated year to what in the world, what year this campaign takes place.
Yes. Reezy Lee asks, are there any holidays in this world? Well, you know of one. You know of the Summer Renewal Festival.
And that's a Fawny specific one, but
Yes.
every culture has their own holidays.
But yes, we'll discover more holidays as things go on. Are there a bunch of planned holidays? Not at the moment. I'm playing a lot by ear, but they'll start filling out as time goes on.
There's something called Catmas, where the great Shapaloo comes and punishes you if you're naughty.
Non-canon.
Drowns you in the swamp.
Yeah. Just a lot of I would imagine Maud has a lot of fucked up holidays that she doesn't understand are fucked up. Like the origin, like she explains it to someone and they're like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, today's closet cleaning where you stay in the closet the whole day.
You sit in the dark and you think about your sins.
This is the day when we think about all the fish that have eaten our ancestors that we throw into the waters of this swamp. As they consume the flesh of the old Choppa, the new Choppa can rise.
Ain't no
Some of
shade.
them might
Jesus is
just-
not canon. That was a joke. It was just a joke. It was just joke talking.
Some holidays I'm really realizing might actually just be her mom making up holidays. Like she's just like, yeah, you sit in this trunk of this tree and you don't eat for 24 hours.
Or just telling her
Don't
like
bother me.
she like for every bad thing that she thinks Maud does, she just comes up with like a new folk monster, like a Krampus. It's like the thing will crawl out of the swamp, it will drag you in, and it will never let go until the last bubbles of air crumple from your chest.
Oh my
Unfortunately,
God.
living in the
That's why-
wilds, living in
Don't
the wilds,
lick yourself. So don't lick yourself there.
living in the wilds, they don't have to make up monsters. There's plenty of monsters in the wilds.
You know, if she made up any bad shit, then that's why Maud is so anxious all the time, because there's real monsters and then there's also fake monsters. She doesn't know what's real.
Like she every time like Maud does something that she thinks is ill-advised, she's like she tells a story of someone she saw die horribly to some sort of creature in the wilds.
Yeah, like everyone does that? Like can Elder Karina transform into an owl? We don't know.
We don't know.
It's very possible. We still don't know.
Still don't know. We know that she's druidic, but we don't know if she's a D&D druid.
We know that the spirits
Who
of
can
the
wild
land will
shit.
at least help her gag people.
Yes, we know at least she has some ability to control vines, which is not the same as wild shapes, so we still don't know if she can do that.
No.
But I think will we see shop blue culture that isn't tied to the fucked up kind that Rufflepaw practices? Absolutely, at some point. We haven't had a lot of opportunities to run into shop blue yet, but
We've seen plenty of Shopaloo just kind of like wandering around and existing, I think, but nothing that would like describe their culture, I guess.
We have such good Shopaloo representation. We have the maid in Alex's childhood home. We have a gambler man who works for bad people.
We had a
have them
very
in jail.
We had a very stabbable mime.
We had a stabbable mime. We had all the
Gaspard,
Shopaloo in
yeah.
jail. They're all criminals.
They're just
well, no,
sending
they're
the
all
worst of
treated
the
like
worst.
criminals.
Yeah, they're
The mime
treated
is
like
not a
criminals.
criminal, and Amelie
we
is also
know
not a
of.
criminal.
He had a lot of money. I'm just saying.
The mime.
Where'd you get this money? Huh?
Yeah.
Suspicious.
Honest work?
Mime crimes.
And also, you don't know if Clubber is actually involved in any criminal activity. You just know that
He works there.
He works.
He did-
Yeah, he works at a bar.
He did threaten to kill me on our first meeting.
You don't know how illegal that is.
It also might.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? It
Bouncers
might have
are
been.
empowered.
That's true, because it also might have been just like an offhand thing. Maybe he's a good boy and we just don't know actually.
Pontificate is a stand your ground.
We like look. We gambled with him after the fact. We made good. We gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, you lost a lot of money to him.
Yeah.
And then I made the house a lot of money. So, maybe Jack should ease the fuck up a bit.
Being a mime is a sin. I don't know how yet.
And also, people who are looking for any sort of confirmation that Grandpa's okay, you get none. I don't know if Grandpa's okay.
Man.
Yeah, all we saw was a still picture of him sitting there. He could have been dead
With
right then.
with a little bit of a tear in his eye. I don't know if people picked up on that.
Yeah, you
I can
either
go now.
Imagine that as his final moments, or imagine him sitting there amongst a field of dead apostles. Up to you. Until we come back and talk about it.
In my head, he's just sort of taking in how quiet everything is.
This is nice.
Because everyone's dead.
No, they're just gone.
Oh, I just realized how being a mime can be a sin. God wants you to use your voice to recruit other people, and if you can't, then you're doing bad.
He did use
So
his voice right after you stabbed him.
And as we start wrapping up, as we are wrapping up, I want to say there are things that people have never caught on so far that are hidden in book 2, and I love that you guys haven't caught them yet. It'll be very fun whenever somebody does eventually see those things. But
So
there's stuff.
rewatch all the episodes 5 times over and see if you can notice all the differences.
And ask your friends and family, did they see anything that you're missing? You know, just ask everybody.
Go on Tumblr. Go
Make
on
sure they
Blue
all watch
Sky.
it separately, though. Don't watch it together, or if you do, everyone has their own device.
Well, it's
Go
one
on,
of
to
those things where, like,
go on to TikTok, see if you can find it somewhere.
TikTok, yeah, TikTok, Tumblr, all those sites.
We've been having that weird problem where like we've been posting the stuff to
Yeah.
TikTok, but if for whatever reason it's just not going out.
Yeah, if you guys look up Tales of a Written Show on TikTok, we actually have a TikTok. But TikTok is literally not showing anything to anyone. It refuses.
So maybe if you go on there and you guys like go in and like a few more people thumbs it up and stuff, maybe that'll break the dam. I don't know, because they have like 2 views and it's from Stefan's account and our Team 4-star account, which went on there to reblog it and still somehow it didn't go out.
Yeah.
Weird shit.
Go follow us on
we need-
TikTok is a sentence that sucks, but go do it.
It's also Tales of a Written Show on Instagram, and it's just talesofwritten.com on Blue Sky.
Yeah, and they're getting out there apparently. But
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's stuff hidden in book 2 that nobody's caught and that are genuine, like, sort of clues for story stuff that if people get all the way to where like stuff starts to really like be shown and come out to light, we'll point them out to you guys then if nobody's still caught it. But if people can catch it before then, that'd be cool. I don't want to.
Then we'll shout you out.
Yeah, yeah. But
once it becomes relevant.
I don't want to make it. I don't want to tell people until we have to.
So see if you can be the first to spot it. Then we'll shout you out when it comes time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Joey asked, "Can we get a hint for the scavenger hunt?" I think Quinn already gave you one. Quinn said to spot the differences, and he was right. And that's all I'll give you. And with that, I think we might be done.
Yeah.
That's it. That's book 2.
Go find us on TikTok. Rewatch the episodes to find the stuff Stefan's talking about.
Yeah. If you want to
Stay
get it,
tuned for more.
They'll keep you. They'll tide you over till book 3.
where can people find the shirt link if they want to get a shirt?
Shop.talesunwritten.com.
There you go.
That's
Thank y'all so much for joining
that's
us.
book 2.
Yeah.
Get ready for a crazy new book in a couple months.
Yeah.
It's gonna get wild.
Oh,
I
yeah.
get to start doing the rough cut of that sometime in the next week or so, and I'm excited about that.
Next.
Wild piss boy death.
Fetish
What was
death.
the other one? Wild piss boy fetish death.
Wild Piss Boy Fetish Death, everybody.